Welcome to the Silicon Fox podcast, where we explore the habits and stories of high performers. Join us as we dive into their journeys, analyze live blood tests, and break down the science behind key biomarkers to help you optimize your health. I'm your host, Mitchell Eschner, an ex-pro soccer player, a current sponsored hybrid athlete, a health tech founder, and a longevity enthusiast. On this episode of the Silicon Fox podcast, we're exploring a science-backed strategy to help you live longer and better. Today, we're diving into one of the hottest, or rather the coldest, wellness trends around: cold water immersion, also known as cold plunging or ice baths. Whether you've seen athletes submerge in ice after games, heard about celebrities taking daily cold showers, or noticed friends posting about their polar plunge experiences, cold water therapy has surged in popularity. But is it just another passing wellness fad, or is there real science behind the benefits? Today, we'll break down the research on how brief cold exposure might boost your mental health, reduce stress, and potentially even protect your brain. Let's start with the basics. Cold water immersion, or CWI, involves deliberately exposing your body to cold water, typically between 50 to 60 degrees of Fahrenheit. Some more experienced plungers prefer colder temperatures of mid 30 to 40 degrees Fahrenheit. This practice has ancient roots across many cultures, but has recently exploded in popularity. There are several ways to practice cold water immersion. Ice baths is the classic approach, where you submerge your body up to the neck in ice cold water, usually just for a few minutes. Cold showers are a more accessible daily option that provides similar benefits, though less intensive. Open water swimming is a more active form of cold water immersion in natural bodies of cold water. And cryotherapy, while it's not water-based, these chambers expose your body to extremely cold air temperatures for brief periods. What I love about cold water immersion is its accessibility. You don't need fancy equipment, just access to cold water, whether that's your shower at home, a bathtub with ice, or a nearby lake or ocean. I can speak for myself that just a few years back, my ice plunge consisted of a huge bucket in my backyard and 2 packs of ice from the nearest department store. So we all know of the cold plunging trend, but what exactly does the research and data say about the supposed benefits for the body? A 2021 study had undergraduate students take a 20-minute dip in cold seawater at about 56 degrees Fahrenheit, using mood questionnaires before and after. Researchers found that compared to the control group, the cold water swimmers experienced significant decrease in negative emotions like tension, anger, depression, fatigue, and confusion. At the same time, they reported boosts in positive emotions like vigor and self-esteem. Another study with adults new to cold water swimming found similar results. After just 5 minutes in a cold bath at 68 degrees Fahrenheit, participants felt more active, alert, attentive, proud, and inspired. What's happening in the brain to create these mood boosting effects? When you plunge into cold water, your body experiences as a stressor. Cold receptors in your skin send electrical impulses to your brain, triggering several responses. First, your body releases endorphins, those natural pain relievers that also enhance feelings of well being, similar to the runner's high many experience after intense exercise. At the same time, your sympathetic nervous system activates, releasing noradrenaline, also called norepinephrine. This neurotransmitter not only helps you manage stress, but also boosts energy and focus. The surge in noradrenaline increases blood flow to the brain, potentially causing those feelings of euphoria that cold plungers often report. One of the most intriguing benefits of cold water immersion is its potential to reduce stress by modifying our cortisol responses. Cortisol plays a key role in our body's stress response. You might expect that plunging into freezing water would increase cortisol levels, but research shows something completely different happens. Studies indicate that cortisol levels don't significantly change during cold water immersion, but they actually decrease afterwards. In one study, a 1 hour cold immersion session at different temperatures led to decreased cortisol levels that remained below initial levels even an hour after immersion. In another study, cortisol levels stayed considerably low for up to 3 hours after just 15 minutes of cold water immersion at 50 degrees Fahrenheit. Even more fascinating is what happens with regular practice. Research showed that when participants engage in winter swimming or cryotherapy 3 times weekly for 12 weeks, their bodies adapted remarkably. After just 4 weeks, they showed significantly lower cortisol responses, with levels continuing to drop in the following weeks. This suggests that regular cold exposure might train your body to produce less cortisol in response to all kinds of stressors, not just cold. One Stanford psychiatrist who practices cold water immersion herself points out the greater physiological resilience may lead to greater psychological resilience as well. The physiological response to cold water differs depending on whether you immerse your full body or just your face. Full body immersion exposes a significant surface area to cold, activating your sympathetic nervous system, your fight or flight response. This triggers the release of neurotransmitters and hormones that drive your stress response, leading to vasoconstriction, increased heart rate, and higher metabolic rate. In contrast, immersing just your face activates your parasympathetic nervous system, your rest and digest functions. This happens because of something called the mammalian diving reflex, an evolutionary adaptation that optimizes respiration and conserves oxygen. The diving reflex is mediated by a nerve which activates your parasympathetic system and releases a sense of calm. This difference explains why some mental health professionals, including Dr. Chawla from Stanford, recommend facial cold water immersion as part of what's called TIPP skills for emotion regulation. TIPP stands for temperature, intense exercise, progressive muscle relaxation, and paced breathing, techniques that help shift your body chemistry and thereby shift your emotional state. Beyond the immediate mood benefits, there's emerging research suggesting cold water immersion might have long-term positive effects on brain health. Animal studies have shown that cold exposure triggers the release of cold shock proteins, particularly one called RNA binding protein, RBM3. These proteins play a crucial role in repairing and regenerating nerve cell connections after cold exposure. Studies have demonstrated that overexpressing RBM3 can help prevent neural connection loss in mice with neurodegenerative diseases. While human research is still incredibly limited in this area, these findings suggest that regular cold exposure might potentially boost the expression of beneficial proteins that could help protect against the slow or progression of neurodegenerative diseases by preserving neural connections. Regarding the neurotransmitter responses we discussed earlier, research indicates mixed results on whether the endorphin responses persist with regular practice. The endorphin effect may diminish over time as your body becomes accustomed to cold exposure. However, the increase in neuroadrenaline continues with each cold water immersion session, even after months of regular practice. The consistent neuroadrenaline response suggests cold water immersion could potentially be useful in addressing conditions associated with low neuroadrenaline levels, including anxiety and depression, though more research is needed to confirm long-term effects. Before we wrap up, let's talk about safety. Cold water immersion offers several health benefits, but it's essential to approach the practice with caution. The most obvious risk is hypothermia. To prevent this, limit your immersion time to no more than 10 minutes, especially when you're starting out. Be aware of the cold shock response. Entering cold water suddenly can trigger involuntary gasp reflex, followed by hyperventilation, which increases the risk of drowning and can lead to arrhythmias or even heart attacks in people with underlying heart issues. To manage its response, enter the water slowly and allow your body to adjust gradually. Never swim alone, regardless of your swimming strength or experience. Always have a partner nearby in case of emergency. From boosting mood and reducing stress to potentially offering long-term brain health benefits, cold water immersion appears to be more than just a passing fad. Remember to start gradually, listen to your body, and be consistent if you want to experience the potential benefits. I'd love to hear about your experiences with cold water immersion. If you've tried it or have had benefits, drop us a comment or send us a message on social media. Thank you for tuning in today. I hope you've gained some insight into this health habit. If you found this episode helpful, be sure to subscribe and share with others who might benefit. And as always, I encourage you to take charge of your health by staying informed and being proactive about your body signals. Thank you, and we'll see you next time on the Silicon Fox podcast.